Hi, I wanted to talk to you about running quarterly meetings in your office. So, as a chiropractor, obviously we have meetings. We actually do weekly meetings, but then every quarter I sit down with all my staff. So, there's 7 of us right now that we sit down once a quarter and we go over um, goals, we go over stats, and we go over kind of like what we want to work on. So, there is a book that I love. It's called Scaling Up. Here is the picture of it. Get this in there. There you go. And it is written by Vern Harnish. It's called Mastering the Rockefeller Habits 2.0. Really good. Got it off Amazon. They give a lot of great tips in there. It's kind of a big read and it's very detailed and in depth with numbers and a lot of charts. So here's just like a quick little snippet I pulled out of there about having meetings. So on the screen right now is my Canva screen because we use Canva a lot and you can make easy notes on Canva in case you hadn't done that before. So here is actually ours from this quarter. It has the meeting name and date and then Q1 rocks. So you'll read about rocks or hear about rocks as like your pain points in the office or like what you need to work on. Like a rock is impeding you from moving in your current path or preventing you from getting to where you want to be, perhaps. And then we even put like personal goals. So a lot of times we try to make sure the staff has like personal goals, not just like goals of what I want them to do in the office, but like personally, like do they want to eat better? Do they want to exercise, drink more water? So we go around and talk about that. And then they can put notes in there. So I wanted to start off by telling you and showing you like what our meeting notes look like that my staff fills in. And I'm going to stop the screen right now. So that's just on Canva. So for instance, this Q1 meeting, we went to a nice country club where we were able to order a lunch. We started it off by going over last year. So what were the stats last year and our rocks? So I'll give some examples of what our rocks were in Q4 last year. So one of our rocks was efficiency. We felt like we were lacking in efficiency, our daily schedule, people running around when things could be done in a smoother way and less chaos, so to speak. Our second rock last year was office aesthetics, meaning we needed to upgrade. If we want to get better, top quality clients and patients, what do we need our office to look like? That way it would attract those type of patients. And retention. So as a chiropractor, patients come when they have pain and then they leave and they don't come back. And that's great if that's your model or what you believe. We try to strive for like wellness patients that want to just continue to stay well their entire life. So we call that retention. Like, should we reach out to them monthly? Do we send them postcards? And then how do we keep the good patients that we want to keep? So we go over that, how we're doing, what we need to do well. And we found out that, some of our rocks from Q4 we should add to Q1 this year because we didn't do enough. So, for instance, aesthetics. We had things listed of like this in Q4 of what we wanted to get. Unfortunately, we didn't get all that. And if we don't make enough in revenue, then we don't get everything off of our list. So we ended up adding our our office aesthetics back onto Q1 Rock and then the list of what that entailed. So, do we want this type of furniture for this room? So, try to make things detailed and not just a generalization. And then asking the input of everyone else, like, what do they want? What do they think and see? Most of the aesthetics things in the office, I don't really have much hand in anymore, besides a final, like, Dr. Hillary, do you like this one or do you like this one? And I'm like, oh, I like that one. All right, let's order that. And then on Q4, we felt like our retention was good, but not good enough. So we ended up putting the retention back on Q1 this year as another thing. And then we dug a little deeper, like, well, what does that mean? Do we want to call, email, text, and send postcards to clients or patients that haven't been in for a while? And then what's the game plan? Like on a month, on the first week of the month, what are we going to do? The second week, the third week, the fourth week. And then so like really breaking down in detail so there's a set plan and like who's going to do that and knowing like they're sitting there and they know and they're writing it down. And if she's not here, who's the backup to that person? So being detailed on these meetings will help you. And then you'll know that going forward, this is what you're doing for that quarter. And then, so we have aesthetics on our Q1, retention still. And then what we decided is our dollar visit average. I know that everyone calls that a little bit differently, but like that's the average amount of someone like coming into our office spends per visit. It was a little lower last quarter than our normal. So we talked about like why, what could we do to increase that, and what our goal was for this month. And then, extrapolating. So how are we going to do that? So instead of just saying these are our problems and this is our goal, but how are we going to accomplish that? And then what we do is we break down in individual weekly meetings. All right, so next week, next week, we're going to talk about that retention again. And one of the things we said we wanted to do was to make a list of people that haven't been in a couple months and contact them. All right, who's made the list? So you got to like follow up with the people too and like know who's doing what. So assigning tasks, and if it's just two of you in the office, then that's fine, but know who's doing what. That way no one's wasting their time and it's not getting like falling through the cracks. So write everything down, have them write down ideas. And then I like to come up with a word of the year. And so last year our word was booming. Like I wanted it to be like a booming year. COVID sucks, let's boom, right? And then so this year, my word, I had heard it and I kept thinking like for like the last few months, that is such a great word. And so they go, what is that word you love? And it's upgrade. Like I want to upgrade people's experience at my office. I want to upgrade the office. I want to upgrade my life. I mean, everything I want to upgrade. So you could think of like a fun word and you could post that in your office. We put it on a wall with all of our core values. We have a Cricut machine and we just put up words like that. So do your word of the year. Do you have a mantra or a slogan that you want to have? You guys could all create that. We've done that. Like our tagline is inspiring wellness and unlocking potential for health in our community, one spine at a time. So I actually didn't think of that, and that isn't what it's always been. So last year or year before that, we came up with that and everyone contributed to it. So it could be something fun like that. And then obviously we had lunch and that was great. And then we decided to do something fun. So we like in our office, there's a lot of like things we have to learn. Like we have to learn different codes and numbers. And we sell products in our office. So like a fun way to remember like what the product is for, like why would someone take CBD oil? Why does someone take a probiotic? And then what the cost is. So my office manager, she made a Jeopardy type style game where she had like all like the squares on her PowerPoint, and then there was a question behind it, and then people could vote bet with Starburst, or you could use whatever. Like I bet 4 Starbursts that I will get that question correct. And then if we got it correct, she gave us more Starbursts. And then if we didn't get the correct answer, then she took our Starburst away. It was just kind of fun, a fun way to learn. And then she reiterated that, we will be quizzing on this again in our general office meeting. So our like weekly office meeting is on Monday. We do that for an hour. It's a non-negotiable. And sometimes we don't take an hour. I like to use like half of the first hour to do to go over like what we're working on, any hiccups, and then anything from the rocks that we created that we need to work on. And then I try for the second half to do training on it. So that could be involving if we're training some new software or a new therapy in the office, something like that, or a new person. So everyone being on page with that. So go over those things and then hold them accountable and hold yourself accountable. So if it's just you and one front desk person, then maybe they need to hold you accountable on your list of things to do. And then they could ask you like, hey, Dr. Hillary, did you do all those things that you were supposed to do for last week? Here's my list of all the things that I had done. So I hope this helps you. If you're not doing like quarterly staff meetings, definitely do that. We also do a second quarterly meeting, not in Q2, but we have a Q1 meeting with like the entire office. And then we have a Q1 meeting of what I call like the A team, which would be like all the doctors and the managers. So currently we have 3 doctors, including myself, and 2 managers. So the 5 of us sit down and hash out some more things, more detailed things that all the staff doesn't really have to be involved with. but all like the inner workings of how things are run, pricing, like if it's time to increase prices, how we're going to do that. So that way everyone's on the same page, or we're changing a procedure if we're not doing certain things for a new patient anymore, or the way we're taking phone calls. Procedures are updated and then updated in our procedure binder too. So I hope that helps. Have a wonderful time.